Hey, welcome. It's Christine Envall, educator, creator, and world champion athlete. Today I want to talk about the question of which is more important, exercise or nutrition. This is something that I get asked a lot. What do people think is the priority if you're trying to improve your health? Now, both of them are important, so let's get that very clear. But when it comes to which one can have more of an impact than the other, exercise would be my number one choice. If you are struggling to change your diet, then you're going to get a lot more benefit of incorporating some kind of exercise. Now, then this argument becomes, or the question becomes, which type of exercise? Do you do cardio, or do you do resistance or weight training? So again, both have their place in any kind of fitness regime. And as we get older, it's more important to do both. But cardio is actually the primary one. So there's a lot of changes that happen in your body when you exercise. A lot of different hormones get released. And believe it or not, cardio exercise, when done about 5 days a week at about a half-hour session, there's a hormone which is called the metabolic hormone. And that has a lot to do with controlling obesity and controlling blood sugar, decreasing the risk of diabetes and other metabolic problems. And there was actually a study done, and there's a really pronounced difference in cardio versus resistance training in raising the level of this particular hormone. So that to me says, when we talked about fitness the other day and we talked about the components of fitness and how cardiovascular fitness is one of the key underpinning foundations of all health, then this is where, I think cardio exercise is way more important. If you have to choose one type of exercise, then you would make sure that you incorporate that into your regime. Now, on the other side, there's a whole bunch of other things that happen with resistance training that we talked about again. It's not just about your heart health, it's about being able to live a vibrant, vital life, being able to get around, being able to carry your shopping, and do all those kind of things that you want to do, which require muscle, which require strength, which require muscular endurance. So resistance training has a place as well, and ideally you do need to do both. So cardio is working on one part of your system, but also has a really major impact on your metabolic pathways. The resistance training, now here's the thing with the resistance training, obviously it does release growth hormone. As we get older, our growth hormone declines, and that's all to do with maintaining a healthy lean mass to fat ratio. What they also found is that as we get older, we tend to train, less intensely because we think that we can't. But the opposite is true. We actually need to train more intensely as we get older, and that counteracts that drop in growth hormone and allows us to release more. And a lot of the effects that people see due to aging is actually just because we kind of don't push ourselves, and we really need to. We actually need to train harder as we get older, and that keeps us younger. So I don't know if that kind of does your head in that, but essentially older, train harder, get younger. That's as simple as that. So exercise definitely over diet when it comes to making that choice, but by all means, if you need to do one thing with your diet, cut out sugar or reduce the amount of sugar that you eat. So diet is very, very important. But when you look at what is one thing which is coming through in all of the information about diet, there's so much contradiction about what you should be eating and how much you should be eating. But there's one thing which is agreed upon by just about everybody, and that is that, really refined sugar, and even sugar coming from fruit. I'm not saying cut that out because that has so many other things coming in with it, but don't go crazy and don't have 10 pieces of fruit a day. You need to still keep that under control. But when it comes to things like your refined sugar that you find in, your soft drinks, what you find in cakes, the hidden sugar that's in biscuits, that's in chocolate, that type of sugar really needs to be reduced a lot, not only because of its impact on blood sugar and diabetes, but the inflammation in your body, the potential to cause cancer. There's so many things where if there was one diet tip that I had, it really would be to stress that, reduction of sugar. Everything else will fall into place, whether you go keto, whether you go high fat, low fat. All of that almost comes secondary to cutting out that sugar. So if you want to do just two things actually to keep yourself really, really healthy. One would be to start exercising if you don't already. If you have friends who don't exercise, who are, getting over their 40s and, complaining about aging and all that kind of thing, let them know that exercise is anti-aging. get moving. You've got to do that, otherwise you will get old before your time. And then the other thing is reduce and cut out sugar, because that is the one diet tip that I will give. Everything else falls into place after that. Anyhow, thank you for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow with another health tip.